I thought I'd just kick off, Trent. Why property?
I love that question. I think there are two types of people in the world. There are people who have a fear of missing out, and there are people who have a fear of failure. And those who have a fear of failure are people who are probably not investing in anything. They're the guys who listen to their parents who said, pay off your mortgage and then save, and you'll be all right. And to be frank, most of those people are all right. They end up being fine because they're pretty prudent and they don't take many risks. And we don't take many risks, you're right. But for those people who dream of something else that maybe they didn't grow up with and want to challenge themselves, you probably therefore have to, when it comes to money, invest in something, right? You see a lot of people go into, what are your options? Crypto, art, stock market, property. They're probably the four things that I know of friends who invest in things. So like most young people having a crack with no money, I was 18 and invested in a couple of stocks, like $1,000. Maybe I made $200 or something. And the thing that really scared me at the time about that, what probably it just concerned me, was when you're on ComSec, you have the ability to just press refresh, and watching it go up and down. And my anxiety was insane. And that concerned me because it meant that it was becoming all-consuming, that live nature of my risk. So I had to learn how to deal with that or find a way to avoid it. And the other one was, I've always been a big believer that if you aren't having an intimate understanding of the thing you're investing in, then you're a punter. There's really only one way to ameliorate that, and that's to trust experts. And when you're 18, 19, you don't have any network. You don't know who the experts are. And so you're punting on that as well. So what that did was lead me away from shares as a default, because I was just continually concerned that I didn't understand what this mining company did. I didn't know what 3 ounces of gold out of a ton meant, or whether that was good or bad.
You can't really control the outcome either, right?
You don't know if they're going to get an environmental approval or they're not. And if they did, there were people who were in the know before you who beat you to the punch anyway. You try and invest in a bank or some speculative share that went up 40% yesterday. You have no idea why and how. Let's really just be honest about that. And it's very hard even for myself now with just general investment and economic nous to still be confident about, if I was to go and invest in this stock on the market, even if I understood their business model, I don't know who the directors are, or I don't know them personally. I can't decide for them what their decisions are going to be in the future about how that company is going on. So I still feel like I'm punting. And so property really just became the default after that. And the reason I like property, and I've always liked it, is because I feel like it's a lot more accessible to become an expert, to have an intimate understanding of that asset, so that I'm not feeling like I'm punting. It moves slower. It's like a train. If it's going in one direction, it's very unlikely that you can press refresh and it's going to change in value in 10 minutes. So it takes that risk away, and it gives you time, therefore, to think long and hard. And what I know about myself and my brain is I am the least witty person, the least funny person you'll know, but I can get really deep into understanding concepts. And as long as I'm given enough time, I can therefore then try and make really rational decisions about these long-term investment choices. And so property, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can look next door and see who the neighbors are and how that affects value. You can use mapping programs to understand what makes this asset valuable. You can understand where the sewer and the water is, who owns the property next door. You can see what the last guy paid for it. You can't really understand how all that information comes together with a company. You can understand at another level how you can buy that asset and then split it up into 3 or 4 and do a Richard Gere from Pretty Woman and turn it into something more valuable.
You said
right?
you weren't witty. That's quite funny.
Thank you. That's all you're going to get from me. So you see people who buy companies, for example, and split companies up and make them worth more money. You can't do that when you're 19, 20, and don't have the money to buy companies, and you certainly don't know how to understand them at that age. So that's what led me into property, and I've stayed there ever since. And unlike a lot of people who diversify that risk by location in property, I've gone through a journey of doing that through typology as well. And I might have been jumping the gun on that with a question maybe, but That's how my
For
journey
those
started.
who don't know what typology is, do you want to explain?
For example,
Asset types.
Yeah, asset types. It generally always starts with a house,
Yep.
and it might then go to small scale development. That might be a land subdivision. That might include a built form, and then you start to get into commercial. You start to get into industrial. You start to do just larger, arbitrarily more risky things. And
As your expertise increases, right?
Yeah, you start to then identify and mitigate that risk.
Yep.